Jeremiah Collins was a man of routine. For nearly 10 years, he had carried out his duties as a mail carrier in the quiet suburb of Maplewood with precision and care. He knew every crack in the sidewalks, every barking dog, and nearly every neighbor by name. His calm demeanor and warm smile had earned him the nickname Mailman Jerry among the residents. But today would be a day unlike any other. It was a crisp autumn morning. The air was brisk, the leaves crunched beneath his well-worn boots, and the scent of freshly brewed coffee wafted from nearby homes. Jeremiah was delivering mail along Parkview Avenue when he heard a startled yelp followed by a loud thud. He turned his head quickly and saw an older man sprawled on the sidewalk, his two golden retrievers barking and tugging at their leashes. The man, whom Jeremiah recognized as Mr. Edward Grayson, a retired businessman who lived a few doors down, was clutching his head, clearly dazed and in pain. Jeremiah didn't hesitate. Dropping his mailbag onto the nearest porch, he sprinted toward Mr. Grayson. "Sir, are you okay?" Jeremiah asked, kneeling beside him. Blood trickled from a gash on Mr. Grayson's forehead, and his face was pale. I don't know," Mr. Grayson stammered, his voice trembling. "I was walking the dogs, and my legs just gave out. I hit my head." Jeremiah quickly assessed the situation. "All right, stay still. You might have a concussion. Let me call for help." Pulling out his phone, Jeremiah dialed 911, relaying the situation to the dispatcher. While they waited, he gently took the leashes from Mr. Grayson's hands, calming the restless dogs with soft murmurs. He used a clean handkerchief from his pocket to apply light pressure to the cut on the man's forehead. "You're going to be okay," Jeremiah reassured him, his deep voice steady. "Help is on the way." Within minutes, an ambulance arrived, the paramedics taking over as Jeremiah stepped back. Mr. Grayson was loaded into the vehicle, but not before gripping Jeremiah's hand with surprising strength. "Thank you," he said, his eyes filled with gratitude. "You didn't have to do this." Jeremiah smiled humbly. "Just doing what anyone should, sir. Take care." A few days passed, and Jeremiah thought little of the incident. He was back on his route, delivering letters and packages with his usual diligence. As he approached Mr. Grayson's house, he noticed a shiny black car parked in the driveway and the older man himself sitting on the porch, looking far better than he had last seen him. "Mailman Jerry," Mr. Grayson called out, waving him over. "Good to see you up and about, Mr. Grayson," Jeremiah said, handing him his mail. Grayson grinned. "Thanks to you, I am. The doctor said I had a minor stroke, and if you hadn't acted so quickly, it could have been a lot worse." "I'm just glad I was there," Jeremiah replied, already moving to the next house. "Wait a second," Mr. Grayson said, standing. "I owe you something." Jeremiah turned back, puzzled. "You don't owe me a thing. I was happy to help." But Mr. Grayson was insistent. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small envelope, handing it to Jeremiah. Curious, Jeremiah opened it and froze. Inside was a check for $50,000. "Mr. Grayson, I can't accept this," Jeremiah stammered, overwhelmed. "You can and you will," Mr. Grayson said firmly. "That money means nothing to me compared to my life. What you did went far beyond what anyone else might have done. You've got a family, don't you?" Jeremiah nodded. His wife and 2 young kids came to mind immediately. They had been struggling to save for a bigger house, one with a backyard where the kids could play. "Then use it for them, or for yourself. Just consider it my way of saying thank you." Jeremiah blinked, his throat tight. "I don't know what to say." "Thank you, Mr. Grayson." The older man smiled. "You already said it, son. And if you ever need anything, you know where to find me." Word of Jeremiah's heroic act and Mr. Grayson's generous gift spread quickly through Maplewood. The quiet mail carrier suddenly found himself the center of attention. But Jeremiah remained the same humble man he had always been, still walking his route every morning, still greeting every neighbor with a smile. And every so often, when he passed Mr. Grayson's house, the 2 men would exchange a nod, a simple gesture of gratitude and respect that spoke volumes about the bond they had formed that fateful day. In the end, Jeremiah's kindness had delivered far more than the mail. It had delivered hope, gratitude, and a brighter future for his family.